What's up, everybody? What's going on? Hope you had a good weekend. This video is about Bobby Roode, Eric Young, TNA Originals. Been there since almost day one. TNA started 2002. Well, Bobby Roode and Eric Young came in at the same time in 2004. And they're part of Team Canada. So, I thought in 2003, I thought Roode or EY, I think I might have seen them on a TNA pay-per-view, but whatever. They were hired in 2004, and they stayed ever since. Very loyal. EY and Bobby Roode, very loyal, great talent. But now they're gone from TNA. Could one of them come back in the future in 1 or 2 months? Possibly one of them may come back and get a new contract, but I doubt it because they both asked for their release. But then again, James Storm, his contract ran out. We saw last year his deal ran out. Him and TNA could not come to terms on a new contract, on a new deal. James Storm obviously wanted to make good money to support his family, so he could support them and get a good deal for himself. That's what you're supposed to do. If you are a good wrestler and you think you got the talent and you deserve to be paid well, and you have drawn money in the past, like James Storm has drawn money in TNA. He's been a part of America's Most Wanted and Beer Money. He was a good TNA talent, TNA original since day one was James Storm. Been there since the first ever show in June 2002 on pay-per-view. Believe James Storm was in the Battle Royal to crown a new NWA champion on the first pay-per-view TNA ever had. Anyways, James Storm could not get a new deal for himself last year, so he left and he showed up and popped up in NXT for two appearances in NXT. But then TNA and him started negotiating, and TNA wanted him for their first show on Pop TV, so TNA reached out and they gave James Storm a new contract with probably a good amount of money. So he took it and went back to TNA. Also, TNA didn't just try to get James Storm to come back for Pop TV. They also really tried to sign Alberto Del Rio. But he decided, and he told TNA, he decided to go back to WWE because, of course, WWE is a bigger company. You're going to be seen worldwide by more fans. And I'm sure Alberto is making a lot more money in the WWE. And he probably has a great deal. He probably doesn't have to work every single weekend on house shows. Anyways, this is about Eric Young and Bobby Roode. I don't know how long I'm going to talk about them, but it's not going to be that long. So last night, it was Saturday night, TNA was taping their TV show for Pop. Impact Wrestling on Pop. They were taping probably their last set of tapings, the 5th set of tapings for Impact on Pop. So if you are major Eric Young and Bobby Roode fans in TNA, if you were big fans of them, you better watch TNA for the next 3 to 4 weeks, because that's the last time you're going to see them in TNA wrestling, on the show wrestling, and being part of TNA. So you better watch Impact on Pop, because Eric Young and Bobby Roode will probably only be a part of the next 4 weeks or 3 weeks of TV, and then they're going to be gone. Now, there's a lot of news about why Eric Young and James Storm decided to ask for their releases, and they were granted and got their releases. First, news I read about last night was, this doesn't have to do with them asking about their releases, but they got them, so neither guy has a no-complete clause in their contract. What does that mean? That means Bobby Roode or Eric Young could show up in any company anytime they want from Sunday until whenever. I mean, Eric Young and Bobby Roode, if they wanted, both of them could show up on Monday Night Raw tomorrow. I'm sure they won't, but they could. Both of them could show up on NXT, Dallas, TakeOver Dallas. But will they? I don't know. If I would pick one, I would say Bobby Roode is more likely to get signed by the WWE and to work in NXT or the main roster. I look at Bobby Roode as the guy that WWE would go after more than Eric Young. He has a look, he has an it factor. Eric Young is a great talent, but he doesn't have the it factor that Bobby Roode does. Bobby Roode, very good wrestler. He's a great talent. Eric Young also pretty damn good. So, they both have a no-complete clause, so they could go to any indie company they want. Next weekend they could work at an indie show. They could go to anywhere. Japan, they could go to anywhere and sign. Maybe Eric Young and Bobby Roode already signed WWE contracts. I don't know if they did, but they could have. Who knows? Maybe they'll appear at WrestleMania and help Shane McMahon. I don't know. Maybe they'll help Shane McMahon defeat The Undertaker, and then Eric Young and Bobby Roode could be a part of the new Shane McMahon's Monday Night Raw. Both guys asked for their release at yesterday's tapings, last night's tapings, or whenever they were, late afternoon. They asked for their releases, and TNA gave them the releases. Now, I don't know why TNA would give Bobby Roode and Eric Young their releases, why they would give it to them if they already had contracts. Why would they just let them go? Two of your top guys, two of your originals. Why would you let them go? They've been loyal to you for over 12 years. I mean, why would you let them go? If they had contracts and maybe they weren't happy with their contracts and they wanted a new contract, I don't know. But I don't see why TNA would release them. I guess they would release them because obviously Bobby Roode and Eric Young were not happy, and they either wanted new contracts and they didn't get them, or they just wanted new contracts and they didn't get them, obviously. So then they asked for their release and they got their release. But instead, I heard this was last night's news. Now I have some new news that I got today about this story. But last night the news was Eric Young was talking and negotiating with a new deal with TNA, but instead Eric Young decided to stop negotiating and just ask for his release and get released with Bobby Roode. Now, I did not read that Bobby Roode was negotiating a new contract. He just asked for his release, and he got it. So he was obviously unhappy. He was probably unhappy with the news I read today. My guess is Bobby Roode was probably not happy over the pay issues in TNA, and that he probably thought he should be paid more, and he wasn't getting paid good enough by a company that he's busted his ass for 12 years. They were probably lowballing him on a new contract or something like that. I mean, they probably did the same thing they did to AJ Styles. I believe AJ wanted $300,000 a year, and TNA would refuse to give him that. They said no, and they offered AJ, I think, $150,000 for, I think, 3 years. So they lowballed AJ. They didn't want to give AJ, they thought AJ Styles was not worth $300,000 a year. At least that's what I read. I don't know if it's true, but AJ wanted more money, like $300,000 or maybe more, and TNA refused to give it to AJ Styles, the guy that was a franchise of their company since day one. They refused to give it to him, so AJ left, made a lot more money, good money in Japan, with New Japan and Ring of Honor. I'm sure he made good money too. And AJ is better off in the WWE because he's going to be paid well and he won't be underpaid, and his checks won't just not show up like they did when TNA had problems paying talent a year ago. But AJ wasn't in TNA a year ago, but before maybe TNA had problems paying AJ. He's better off in WWE. He'll be seen by more fans and he'll get paid every week. Better money. So Bobby Roode asked for his release. Got it. EY was negotiating last night, but decided to stop and just ask for his release. And he got it. And now the news from today is that both EY and Bobby Roode, the news is that according to PW Torch VIP, I think .com or whatever their website is, PW Torch VIP, Pro Wrestling Torch, and I guess it's a VIP website. Both Eric Young and Bobby Roode made their decision to ask for their releases because of pay issues. Now, maybe last year they weren't paid on time for a couple months. I don't know. Maybe this year they didn't get a paycheck when they were supposed to. And they probably were pretty pissed off and fed up about that. So my guess is either EY or Bobby Roode, both of them have had it and were fed up with how TNA was doing business paying their talent. So, as I said, they both made their decision to ask for their releases because of pay issues. Another thing, both guys asked, both EY and Bobby Roode asked for a pay raise, and both were turned down. I don't know why TNA would turn them down, but obviously they can't afford it. And if they really can't afford to pay EY and Bobby Roode, and they could only afford to pay James Storm good money, that is not good. Because the rest of your talent, guys like Drew McIntyre, EC3, what about when their contracts are up? You're not going to pay them what they want, and you're going to just let them go? That won't be good. Even guys like Abyss, what about when Abyss's contract is up? You're not going to give him a new contract? And you're going to lowball guys like Abyss, guys like EC3, are you going to lowball them and not pay them what they want? And I understand if TNA can't afford to pay their talent that they have, if they can't afford to pay them good money and what they want. But that's ridiculous because TNA let AJ go. They had to let Sting go because he was making a lot of money every year, but Sting probably wasn't coming back to TNA anyways, and TNA knew that. Who else did they let go? Magnus, great talent. They let Magnus go because they weren't going to pay him a new contract and what he wanted. And I don't know why TNA didn't think we should re-sign Magnus, because they should have. He's a great talent. I'm surprised he didn't show up in WWE or NXT yet, because Magnus is a great talent. Anyways, they let AJ go, Magnus, and now they let James Storm go last year for a couple months until they finally gave in. And basically James Storm, they gave him what he wanted because they couldn't get Alberto Del Rio. So they gave James Storm what they wanted, and TNA probably gave in to him. But now they let EY and Bobby Roode go because of not giving them a pay raise. Now, Bobby Roode and EY, this is my opinion. I think they left because, again, they didn't get a pay raise. Because they thought, we've been here for 12 years. In this company, TNA should respect us and respect our loyalty to the company for so many years. I'm sure EY and Bobby Roode thought that TNA would give them a pay raise because how loyal they've been to the company, but no, they did not give them a pay raise. So I'm sure EY and Bobby Roode thought, we've had it, let's leave, and we can go anywhere else in the world, anywhere else in any indie company. On the indies, they can make good money. I mean, working indies every weekend, they could probably make really good money. So, good for EY and good for Bobby Roode that they left because TNA would not give them a pay raise. They deserved a pay raise, in my opinion, because they've been there so long. And they both have been there, as I said, since 2004. Also, I think what made this release, them asking for their release, not just not getting a pay raise, but also, I think TNA last year, or maybe a year and a half ago, I think it was last year, but I think TNA had problems not paying a lot of their talent. It was obviously they had problems not paying talent last year. And two of those guys that probably did not get paid for a couple months were probably EY and Bobby Roode. So that probably pissed them off a lot. That I don't know if it was last night, but when they asked for the pay raise and TNA said no, we can't afford it. And then EY and Bobby Roode were probably really pissed, like, you couldn't also afford to pay us on time last year. And they probably had it. Good for them. Because they can make great money in Ring of Honor and get paid on time. WWE or NXT or New Japan Pro Wrestling, they can make great money there and be paid on time. And not have to worry about a company not wanting to give you a pay raise and not wanting to give you a good deal and not have to worry about getting a paycheck on time to support their family. I don't think EY has any kids or a wife, but Bobby Roode does have a wife and kids. He has to support. So I think TNA did owe Bobby Roode and Eric Young back money, and they did not pay them on time. Last year, as I said, TNA had problems paying their talent, which was pretty sad, because when a company starts doing that, it really looks like they're going to go out of business soon. So if TNA does not pay talent this year, if any news comes out that they're having money problems again, they can't afford to pay their talent, things are not looking good. And I understand TNA's looking for investors to invest in them because they have a 5-year plan. According to Dixie Carter, she has a 5-year plan for TNA. Well, if they don't get any money from any investors this year, they'll probably go out of business in 2 or 3 years. This is not good for TNA. As a fan of TNA, I still support them. I still watch, and I will still watch them without Bobby Roode and Eric Young. But when those TV tapings are over, in 1 or 2 months, when they're done, and I don't see Bobby Roode and EY on TNA TV anymore, it's going to be pretty damn sad. Because I was a fan of both of them. I was more of a fan of Bobby Roode. I will admit, I'm a bigger fan of Bobby Roode. I really think he should go to NXT or the main roster in WWE because he deserves to be in the WWE, and the WWE should sign Bobby Roode as soon as possible. Eric Young, they could use him also in NXT or the main roster. But I don't know if WWE sees anything in hiring Eric Young. I don't see why not, but they might not see anything in the guy because he's in TNA. But I would hope that WWE would be smart enough to sign Bobby Roode because he is the it factor and he has it. He's great. This is not good for TNA. The only talents they got left, they're going to get me to keep. I mean, they have lost AJ. That was like 2 years ago, I think. But they lost AJ. They lost Kurt Angle. He's not coming back. And now they lost Bobby Roode and Eric Young. And by the way, Bobby Roode and James Storm are the current TNA Tag Team Champions, I believe. But now with Bobby Roode gone, I don't know, in a couple weeks on Impact, they'll probably strip Beer Money of the tag titles. And they'll probably start a tag title tournament because Bobby Roode was the current reigning TNA Tag Team Champion with James Storm of Beer Money. And how do you think James Storm feels? The guy came back, signed a good deal for himself, came back, wanted to reunite Beer Money and reunite them and team up with Bobby Roode again because they both have great chemistry together and work well together. Well, now James Storm doesn't have a partner. And probably one of his best friends, Bobby Roode, his Beer Money tag team partner, is gone. That sucks for James Storm that he is stuck. He's stuck in TNA now without a tag team partner. And I don't know what they would do with James Storm without Bobby Roode. I don't know what plans they would have for James Storm. They tried to have him be a singles wrestler when he was the leader of the Revolution. In my opinion, that did not work out. James Storm, he belongs in a tag team. In my opinion, I see James Storm as a tag team wrestler. And now his partner's gone. Maybe James Storm could ask for his release and get it and go join Bobby Roode on the Indies or join Bobby Roode in Japan so they could team up. I don't know. I don't think James Storm would ask for his release because he needs that money to support himself and his family. So that'd be kind of stupid to ask for his release unless WWE and Bobby Roode called up Storm and said, James, they want you to come here with me. Can you get out of your contract? So I don't think Storm would go unless he had a guaranteed contract from WWE or NXT. Or to be in NXT. As I said, this sucks. As a fan of TNA, it sucks that I'm not going to see Bobby Roode and Eric Young on Impact on Pop much longer at all. Not much longer at all. The only talents left in TNA that I really care for are the beautiful people, Drew McIntyre, EC3, Jeff Hardy, and not many others. Decay's a good group. They're entertaining, but the Wolves I enjoy, but not many other guys are there. And now TNA just lost two of their biggest stars. In my opinion, two of TNA's original stars. It sucks. It really sucks to be a TNA fan and to lose Bobby Roode and Eric Young. It fucking sucks. I really hope both of them end up in WWE, but who knows what the future holds. Follow me on Twitter at TNA WWE Guy. Bye for now, everybody.